The room was quiet, almost too quiet, not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the kind that presses on your chest, the kind that makes every heartbeat louder, every breath heavier. Riri stood frozen in the center of it all. Her hands trembled, her eyes shimmered, and for once the woman who had faced the stadiums, scandals, billionaire empires, and global fame looked completely devastatingly vulnerable because across the room stood the one man who could do that for her. Exceed sometimes had felt different. Rocky had been distant, but not in a cold way. In a focused way, quiet, thoughtful, watching her more than usual, like he was studying every expression, memorizing every detail. Riri noticed, of course, she did. She always did. But every time she asked, he would just smile and say, "Trust me, it's something good." That answer didn't settle well. It unsettled her because Rihanna wasn't used to not being in control, not knowing, not reading the room before anyone else. But with Rocky, it was different. It was always different. The night everything changed. It started like any other evening. A private dinner, soft music, candles flickering like they were in on a secret she didn't know yet. Riri walked in wearing a slick black dress. Effortless, powerful, breathtaking. Rocky was already there. And the way he looked at her, that's when her heart skipped. Not once but twice, something was coming. She felt it. They talked, laughed, touched hands across the table. But underneath it all, there was tension, electric, unspoken. Then suddenly, Rocky stood up. Riri frowned slightly, confused. "Wait, what are you doing?" she asked softly. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his jacket, her breath caught, time slowed, and then he dropped to one knee. Riri gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth instantly. "No, no, Rocky. What are you?" Her voice cracked before she could even finish. And then she saw it. The ring. Brilliant, blinding. But it wasn't a diamond that broke her. It was the look in his eyes. Pure love, pure certainty. Rocky took a deep breath for a man known for confidence, for swagger, for owning every room he walked into. He looked nervous, real raw. Going by his words, he said, "You know, I've done a lot in my life," he began. His voice steady but emotional. "But nothing has ever felt like this, like you." Riri shook her head slowly, tears already streaming. She was trying to process, trying to breathe, but her heart it was racing out of control. "You are not just the love of my life," he continued. "You are my peace, my chaos, my home, my everything." Her knees nearly gave out. She had to grab the edge of the table. The tears take over and then it happened. Riri broke. Not a single tear, not a quiet cry. She collapsed into it, tears pouring uncontrollably, her shoulders shaking, her voice barely there. "Rocky, stop. I can't even think right now." But he didn't stop. He moved closer, still on one knee, still holding that ring, still holding her future in his hands. "Will you marry me, Rihanna?" he asked softly. "Not as the wall sees you, not as Riri, but as the woman I fell in love with, the woman I can't live without." Silence, but not empty silence. Heavy silence, that kind that holds 1,000 emotions all at once. Her angst almost lost in tears. Riri tried to speak once. Nothing came out. She laughed through tears, shaking her head like she couldn't believe this was real. Then finally, "Yes, yes," she cried out. And just like that, the room exploded into emotion. Rocky stood up instantly, pulling her into his arms. She buried her face in his chest, still crying uncontrollably. Not out of sadness, but out of overwhelming love. "You really did this," she whispered between sobs. "You really did this." He kissed her forehead, soft, certain. "I've been ready," Rocky replied. "I was just waiting for the perfect moment." To the outside world, it would look like a fairy tale proposal. Perfect lighting, perfect ring, perfect timing. But what people didn't see was everything behind those tears. The late-night conversations, the misunderstandings that fought through, the moments they almost lost each other, the growth, the healing, the choice over and over again to stay, to fight, to love. Later that night, as everything settled, Riri sat quiet, staring at the ring on her finger, still in disbelief, still emotional. Rocky walked up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You okay?" he asked softly. She nodded slowly, then whispered, "I'm more than okay. I'm just overwhelmed." He smiled. "Good, overwhelmed." She turned, tears still in her eyes, but this time softer, warmer, the best kind. All in that moment, Rihanna, the global icon, the billionaire, the unstoppable force, was simply a woman in love, crying, laughing, and stepping into the next chapter of her life with the man who chose her. And the man she chose right back. The room was filled with soft golden glow, the kind that only comes from candlelight carefully placed to feel both intimate and unforgettable. Outside, the city buzzed as it always did, but inside that private rooftop space, time felt like it was slow, like the wall itself knew something monumental was about to happen.